Hello, welcome back to the Football Terrace, a brand new show powered by Bet Victor for you this evening. We're here to talk about Laurato Martinez and a gigantic contract offer that Arsenal are going to present to his agents to convince him to join Arsenal over Tottenham should they be able to agree a deal with Inter Milan. Staying with Arsenal, a £25 million plus offer is going to be made for Aaron Ramsdale to make him the new #1 goalkeeper at Arsenal Football Club. This bid may have already been submitted. The news is trending and Arsenal fans are not happy at all. The Lukaku and the Varane deals, they're done, but the announcements have been slightly delayed. We will touch on them briefly later, but tonight's show, we are going to be predicting the winners of the Premier League, the top 4 finishes of the Premier League, who's going down, and then a bit of a player debate as well. Who's picking up the top goal scorer award, the Golden Boot? Will it be Harry Kane, Mo Salah, Bruno Fernandes, or could the shortly arriving Lukaku do it? And on top of that as well, his name's definitely Lukaku, Terry. And on top of that, we're going to be looking at who will be the player of the year. I'm joined by a fantastic panel tonight. Do me a big favor and smash the like button. Make sure you sign up and join with our partners tonight, Bet Victor. The link for that is inside the description below. You have to be over the age of 18, but go and check that out. If you top up and bet £5, you get a £30 free bet exclusively through us and them on the Football Terrace. Make sure you're a subscriber. Let's do this, people. Hello, everyone. How you all doing? You good?
I'm good. I'm all right.
I know. Start of the new season's here. That's the first question. Who's excited about the start of the season here? Probably Chelsea fans, probably.
Yeah, for sure, man. Waiting for Lukaku to come, you know. We've actually got a striker. So, yeah, man, excited.
I'm excited, but I'm nervous, man, because we got Leeds first game, and that's not a game you want, like, on the back of pre-season, because they will just run and run. Didn't Liverpool play Leeds first game of the season a few years ago, and that was a tough game?
Last season, bro.
Oh, the last season, Callum's muted.
Yes, bro. It was rough. It was very rough last season watching Leeds outrun us at Anfield. It was very rough, bro.
Yeah, I'm not even nervous. This whole start of the season has been a myth. I just haven't realized it's coming. Literally, I took my time, enjoyed my summer, and now I'm blinked. I'm like, yo, it's actually here now. I actually need to get ready to actually start watching football again. It's been very mad. Hold tight the Olympics. Jamaica 1, 2, 3. Let's go.
Come on.
That's exactly what, when you have the Olympics and like a Euros or a World Cup in the same summer, you always find that doesn't normally happen. Actually, it was actually, no, it was. It used to be the Euros in 2012 and the Olympics, and they're always in the same year, the Euros and the Olympics. So you have this big sporting summer, and then suddenly the transfer market's on, and then the season begins. Tonight, of course, after we go through some of these transfers, we're going to be predicting what's going to happen this season, looking at the title winners, golden boot scorers, player of the season, the relegation fodder as well. So make sure you're getting your comments in as well. We do have a poll currently running right here live on YouTube as well with who will be the top goal scorer. Currently leading the way with 44% is Lukaku. In second place is Harry Kane on 26%. Mo Salah with 17% and just 12% giving Bruno Fernandes a chance of doing it. But we will be touching that a little bit later on in the show. I want to start with the transfer news first of all, though. The big one today, and I've got to start with Jess on this, £25 million. £25 million for Aaron Ramsdale. Give me your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised because we've heard about it from like the beginning of the transfer window. So I'd already kind of like geared myself up for it. I was still shocked at the reaction. Not really, but it was like very over the top, in my opinion. I get that it's like, oh, it's 25 million for a backup keeper. He's not a backup keeper. He's going to take over for Leno in a year. So if you're talking about a #1 goalkeeper eventually, 25 million is what it is. I think it's the optics of it, though. You know, when you've only got like Lukaku, Tavares, Ben White, that's like one player that's going to play in your starting lineup and then a goalkeeper. The season does start, you know, in a couple of days. So we don't actually have a #2. So we did have to bring him in. But when everybody's anxious about getting a striker / an attacking mid, it just doesn't look good. And then when you have Edu on vacation, on jet skis, and sitting around with Kia and Raul and stuff, it just looks horrible. So with the Ramsdale thing, I have my own, like, you know, feelings about it in terms of, I mean, he's young. So you're comparing him to goalkeepers 5 times or like 5 years older than him. So he's not going to look as good. He's not my favorite. It is what it is. But like, please get an attacking midfielder, Edu, because he's not going to survive. Like right now, I'm definitely like, Edu out. Like, go. You're a madman. Like, he's a madman. I can't.
Yeah, I mean, the holiday thing doesn't ever look good at this point. Nick, I need to ask you this question. Martinez left for around £20 million, as in the goalkeeper Martinez. Lautaro, we're talking later. He leaves about 20 million because they backed Leno. And they're now about to drop, you know, between 5 to 10 million more on Ramsdale. Can you understand the embarrassment from Arsenal fans?
It's even more embarrassing because we all knew at the time that Martinez was better than Leno. And anyone who disagreed, I don't know who disagreed, but who anyone disagreed was only fooling themselves or trying to fool themselves. I don't think they did it successfully. We saw in that period that Martinez played, damn, this is a proper keeper, not that burnt guy that they got from Germany. This is a proper keeper. So when they sold him, we already knew, like, well, you already made a bad decision selling him. And I guess the excuse or the reason was he wanted to be number one. Damn right he wanted to be number one because he was clearly better than Leno. And now Arsenal are realizing that he's clearly better than Leno because Ramsdale ain't on Martinez's level. Yeah, Ramsdale's supposed to replace Leno. I mean, yeah, it's embarrassing in terms of the business side, but just in terms of in the footballing side, to not spot someone that's training week in, week out and then playing week in, week out. You can't spot that this guy is better than the guy that he's replaced. I would love to know who's behind that decision to actually sell Martinez.
Yeah, absolutely. Jem, go on, mate. Have you say?
This Ramsdale guy, I swear, I don't get it. What people see in this, especially clubs seeing this guy. This guy got relegated with Bournemouth, and then he got relegated with Sheffield United. Like, if that's any more indication as to stay away from this guy, and now he's getting an opportunity to literally go to Arsenal, supposedly. It just doesn't make sense. There's no logical sense in him going to them.
I do understand that. Look, let's see how it transpires. There is another deal though that's really starting to pick up pace now, and you know, I remember, you know, here on the terrace there was a lot of sticks thrown our way for suggesting that Lautaro Martinez could leave Inter Milan because a couple of tier ones said that it was impossible. But every day more and more news is seeping. It's seeping like a broken fridge. Now there are reports of a massive offer. Depends on what publication you read, but it's varying from 250 to 300,000 pounds a week that Arsenal are prepared to pay Lautaro Martinez to stop him from joining Tottenham Hotspur, who are leading the race. When you listen to what a lot of the insiders within football say right now, they've had the better conversations. They certainly are in a better position if they've got a striker that could definitely leave if they accept a bid, or Arsenal were struggling to get rid of players to raise the funds for the transfer fee. I want to ask you, Callum, welcome back to the channel, by the way. It's been a minute since we've had you on, and congratulations on the new baby as well. So lots going on in your life, my friend.
Yeah, and lockdown's fruitful.
That's what I'm going to say. Let's call it. Pick up yourself, my guy.
No sleep. I see the bags under his eyes.
Lautaro Martinez and Arsenal looking to drop this kind of mammoth salary on him to bring him in. Is that the kind of move that Arsenal should be looking to do over, say, a Ramsdale?
Yes. So I've got to be honest, I take the mick out of Arsenal all the time, but I have to sit here and I've got to admire what they're trying to do. Like, I don't know if they'll get Martinez. We don't know if they'll even put a bid in. But the fact that they're actually aiming for a player of that quality, I think has to be applauded. Ramsdale, I think the less said about that, the better. I think we all know he's not top quality. But Martinez is arguably on the cusp of becoming world class. Some would argue he is already world class. He's a top quality striker, a top quality attacker. And if he goes to Arsenal, he improves that team and he gives them more of a fear factor. Do I think he'll go there? I still don't know. But I admire Arsenal for actually making the inroads to try and make it happen.
I agree. And KJ, do you see that deal happening? There is one big moving part that they need to get right, and that is getting rid of a Lacazette, raising the funds and squad space. Let's say that part happens, because we know, say that does. If they go head to head with Tottenham, do you think Arsenal could outmaneuver them and outpower them and bring Martinez to the Premier League?
I mean, they could. It's not like they can't. They're still Arsenal Football Club, still a big team. But if I'm looking at Martinez as a player, he's stuck in between a rock and a hard place, because you've just won the Serie A, you've just won Copa America. You are probably in like the highest amount of stock value that you've had as a player for a while, and your options are a rebuilding Arsenal, a rebuilding Spurs, and a like financially in crisis Inter Milan. Like, so everywhere he looks, it's like no matter where he go, he's screwed in some way, shape, or form, and it's just trying to pick like the lesser of three evils. And personally, if I was him, I would say stick out at Inter just for one more season, like because no one can then blame you for leaving after one more year. It'll be easier for you to get out as well. Because I feel like if he goes to a Spurs, if he goes to an Arsenal, if he does do well and he does want to leave, it'll be harder because the wages is going to be on, is going to be higher. You know what clubs are like nowadays. Trying to move players out is a lot more difficult because all clubs are being a bit more shrewd and a bit more stingy with letting players go. We've seen multiple players get into this golden cage where it's like Harry Kane, even at Spurs, looks like impossible for them to leave. So if he's a player that wants to move on, I think staying at Inter is the easiest way to do that, because you can stay there, play football, and then you know they need the money. So, but can Arsenal do it? Yeah, they can do it. I'm not going to sit here and say they can't, because I'd be lying.
There we go. We've got some super chats here. Monsieur Ahmed says, Terry, I reckon Sancho will score more than Bruno this season. Well, as a Man United fan, we'll get on to top goal scorer on our predictions later, but as a Man United fan, I don't care which Man United player scores the most amount of goals. That's music to my ears either way. Bean plays here, says Salah and Mane missing time with AFCON. Corona spreading like wildfire in Africa. Long isolation periods before and after. Could miss 6+ weeks. I didn't actually know about that. They could miss up to 6 weeks. We'll definitely get onto that a little bit later on. Callum there looking up, definitely a Liverpool fan. That's his, by the way, everyone, that's his bedroom, not his kids' room. His missus picked it. Simple as that. We have another super chat from Wayne. Wayne said here, and I want to read this super chat out. I've missed putting it up on the screen. I'm very, very sorry. But Wayne said, Neeks, that's rubbish. This is all hindsight. Selling Martinez was the right decision at the time. He was not clearly better than Leno. That's rubbish. I mean, I want to watch quickly to finish that up before we go into the Premier League predictions. Jess, who's better, Leno or Aston Villa's Martinez?
I mean, Martinez is a better goalkeeper. You know, I don't think anybody can really dispute that, but I do think there's a little bit of context missing in a lot of these arguments about Burn Leno versus Martinez. It's a longer conversation that I don't think we really have time for, but in the end of the day, if somebody wants to be number one, you can't keep both of your number one goalkeepers. Even if we decided to keep both, you can't. You literally cannot keep both. My biggest gripe is if you're going to keep Leno over Martinez, you make Leno commit. And he didn't. We didn't try to get him on a new contract. And that would have been my, okay, we need to get rid of you. And we would have got rid of him this summer. You know? There
we go, ladies and gentlemen. We can keep taking your super chats and your comments about the transfers that are coming through. We'll do a bit of a Q&A later on, no problem whatsoever. But that's your roundup on that in terms of Ramsdale and the Martinez situation into Arsenal. Varane's fine. The announcement's probably going to be tomorrow. Lukaku's landed in the UK. That's fine. Everyone's got to calm down over those. But we're now going to move on to the Premier League predictions live for you. Of course, brought to you by our title sponsors and partners, Bet Victor. Sign up and join up as one of their customers now. Bet £5 and get a £30 free bet. The links to do all of that are inside the description below. Let's jump straight into this. So what we're looking at here is going to be the top four. So who is going to make the top four this season? I'm going to go straight in this one. I'm going to go to Gem on this. Give me your top four, mate. Who do you think is going to make it? Go.
Man City, Chelsea, Manchester United, and then Liverpool.
Which is a pretty safe bet, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm not. Look, listen, Man City are the champions. I always put the champions as favourites. It's just a rule that I do. Yes, Chelsea have sorted out their striker issue, and I expect them to challenge, no excuses this season. I think Manchester United, as a football club, have improved in many areas. I know there's some of the Man United fans might be slightly upset in terms of sort of the central midfield aspect, but they've strengthened at the back. They've got Sancho as well. They've kept Pogba, which is another big thing to do as well. So I think they'll be there or thereabouts with Chelsea and Liverpool. You know, I was stuck whether to put him in or not, but then I thought who else could really get in there. So I would say, yeah, Liverpool will be there or thereabouts. But then again, it matters about Virgil van Dijk, how he comes back into it, if he can continue in the same levels as he did before he got injured, and whether Salah, who we know will score goals, but Mane specifically, will get back to the levels that we know he could, which he didn't last season. So,
is anybody gone for anybody outside the box? Because Jess, I mean, who's your outsider to make it into the top four?
I think Leicester make the top four. I think Liverpool misses out. I have huge questions about. Well, they haven't really done anything in the transfer window. I know Konate is a good player, but y'all got injury issues. Like, I still think that even though the players are coming back, recovering from injuries is not linear. All you need is a couple of those players, a Van Dijk to get re-injured, a Jordan Henderson or whatever, because you're still dealing with the exact same group of players in a very skeleton-like squad. So for me, I don't think Liverpool is freshened up enough. I think they're quite stale. And then with the reoccurring injuries that I foresee happening anyway, I think they just miss out on it. And then Leicester have added players that increases their floor, like Patson Daka and Soumare. So if your Ndidi gets hurt or Vardy gets hurt, you're not in trouble, which is usually the issue with Leicester. They just kind of have some injuries towards the end of the season that keeps them from making it. I mean, they barely missed out on top four. So for me, I think Leicester makes it and Liverpool misses out, not because Liverpool's not good, but I don't think they fixed any of the issues that they had last season.
Cal, I need to get your take on that as a Liverpool fan. Can you conceivably see Liverpool missing out on the top four?
So no, I can't. But I'm also not going to sit here and say that Jess is talking rubbish. I actually get where Jess is coming from. One thing I will say, though, is I think everyone seems to think our season hinges on Virgil van Dijk. Our season hinges on Virgil van Dijk if we want to win the league, not for top four. Everyone seems to forget we finished third last season and we had the most depleted squad in the league. It wasn't just Virgil van Dijk who got injured. It was Gomez, it was Matip, Henderson, Thiago. We had a plethora of injuries, plus players fell out of form as well. I'm not going to sit here and say I think we're going to win the league. I think we need a couple of players if we are going to win the league. But to say we're not going to finish top four, I can't see that happening. Not with how things are right now. I think things would have to go extremely bad for us and other teams would really have to step up. And I don't know if those teams have got it in them to do that.
Well, what's interesting here, when we take a look over here at the odds here on Bet Victor, Liverpool are the second favourites, joint second favourites here with Chelsea Football Club, as you can see, at 1-4 on to make it into the top four. Man United are fourth favourites there because you can't have a third when you've got joint second. You both got Arsenal and Leicester with 4-1 chances, along with Tottenham to make it into the top four. Does anyone make a case here for Tottenham or Arsenal making it into the Champions League positions this season?
I think Spurs could if they keep Harry Kane and they get Lautaro Martinez. But I don't think they're going to. I think it's one or the other. I think they keep Kane or they get Martinez, which means that, no, I don't think Arsenal's even in the running, if I'm going to be completely honest. I don't think, same way Liverpool haven't done great business this summer, Arsenal's business is very, very underwhelming so far. And the question you have to ask is, what have the teams outside of the top four last year and the year before, because this is 2 years in a row that we've had the same top four, what have they done to improve their squad to catch up with the teams above them? Leicester, you can make an argument they've improved considerably. Fofana's injury is going to be a problem. But what Spurs? Spurs bought Christian Romero. Okay, Arsenal bought Lukaku and Ben White. What's West Ham done? What's Aston Villa? Aston Villa, I mean, they're probably going to improve on last year, but the gap was so big that to then close it to go to top four, when you consider last year was the chance with Liverpool struggling how they were, that was the opportunity. And I can't see next season or this season even being any different.
I hear you on that. I mean, top four is a difficult one. I am going to put a bet on. I'm going to put a bet on here live on the air with this, and it's a difficult one. But when I look at this now, I am going to go with Jess. I'm going to go with Jess on this, and I'm going to go for an outsider. I'm going to go for an outsider at 4-1 here with Leicester.
Terry, Villa.
That's some good business.
Villa. Aston Villa. Listen, now, they're not the ones I put in my prediction, like when I sent to Terry. But when I think about it, the additions they have made, yes, they've lost Jack Grealish, but the additions they have made to their team makes them so much stronger. And considering other teams haven't strengthened as much as them, I'm just saying, don't write them off, because I feel like we're in for a surprise. Leon Bailey is a good addition. Axel Tuanzebe is a good addition in the back. You could argue, can he become better than Mings? I think that's possible. Danny Ings was carrying Southampton on his back, making sure that they survive. Add him to a team that's already got Buendia, one of the best creators in the Premier League when he was here. You got Ollie Watkins, who had a good season. You have already McGinn,
You're
Douglas.
definitely an undercover Villa fan, aren't you, bro?
Like, what I'm saying, the cheeky Terry. If you put a bet on Villa, I'll do it as well. If you go first, I'll do it.
KJ, we made the same mistake as we did with Everton last year when we were all bigging them up because they had Angelotti and they bought all these players. And even I did. I gassed it and I was like, yeah, they're going to get fourth. Yeah. And look, where did they end the finish?
But
so come
on. People gassed it because it was Ancelotti. There's no Grealish no more.
I hear you.
You know what I'm saying?
I hear you on that. Viewers, I want your views. I want your opinions. Who is making the top four? Leave your comments now. Remember, I'm going to go now over back to the Bet Victor app here. I'm going to stick with my guns here. I've listened to Jess. This is on you, Jess. I'm putting this all on you. I'm going to put £5 of my money on Leicester City at 4-1. Potential return £25 to make it. There you go. That's done. Placing the bet. So this is live on the air. That is done. There you see it. That is over. I put it on Leicester. Where are you putting your money today, ladies and gentlemen? Where are you putting your faith? I really want to know. But that's the top four. Only a couple of little controversial bits there. I'll just give mine for the viewers. I'm going to go with Leicester in fourth place. I'm going to go with Man United in third. And then I'm not telling you my last two because we're doing winners a little bit later on. We're doing winners a little bit later on. I nearly messed up there, so we're not going to do that. We want to know what you think and feel. Make sure you've smashed the like button. You've hit the share button as well. And we're now going to take a look. The next section, who's going to be the top goal scorer in the Premier League next season? The top goal scorer is always such an interesting debate. It's a little less. You haven't got to worry too much about your team. It's more about the individual than anything else. I want to go to Cal first on this one. Who do you make the outright favourite? I mean, with Bet Victor, they've got 3-1 favourite being Harry Kane. Where do you see this going this season?
So I've got it between two players. One I think is obvious. The other I think you guys might potentially laugh at. Harry Kane's the obvious one, especially if he goes to City. If he goes to City, for me, he's the absolute favourite. The second player I'm actually thinking is actually Cavani. And I know I'm probably going to get slated by you guys on the panel and people in the comments. But the reason I say that is because I think he'll be your leading striker at Man United. Plus, you've got a fantastic creator in Sancho who knows how to create goals. You've kind of lacked that in your team, especially from wide areas. And I think you add Sancho to the mix. You keep Pogba, you keep Bruno. I think Cavani eats very well this season.
That's an interesting one because KJ, you think the same, don't you?
Yeah. So when I was thinking about it, I put Cavani as my top goal scorer. Last season, he had a slow start, but when he got going, he just bagged goals. And that was in a team where, if you look at really in the attack, was very unbalanced. There was a lot of players who wanted to score goals. You got Greenwood, Rashford, and Bruno all trying to score at the same time as Cavani. Now, if you bring Cavani into this team now with Jadon Sancho coming in, if you tell Bruno to relax, you don't have to score as many goals now. You can focus on creating. Martial on the left, because Rashford's injured. If you tell him you don't have to score as many goals, you can focus on creating. Cavani will eat good. He's had a good break. I feel like he's going to come back firing because he's got to get the first proper season in front of fans. And also, these are little things, but he's got to see his family for the first time in a long time. And I feel like that'll give him an extra boost to come back to the Premier League and try and become the top goal scorer. So, yeah, I feel like there's a lot of things going for Cavani. So don't sleep on him. I feel like he can do some damage this season.
Jem, I pretty much know who you're going to pick without even looking at the list you sent through to me. Who are you going with, mate?
I am backing my guy, Romelu Lukaku. Yes, he's not a Chelsea player yet, but he will be very soon. But in terms of Lukaku, the one thing that Chelsea missed last season was someone putting it in the back of the net. Now, if you think of someone like Timo Werner, who missed 20 plus big chances last season for Chelsea, and you put Lukaku in his position, he would have scored at least half of them goals. I'm expecting him to score anything between 16 to 20 goals in the Premier League. The reason why I think that is because Chelsea and the way we play, the way that we hold the ball, the way that we create, I don't think we're ever going to have an issue for putting the ball in front of him and allowing him to be able to score many goals for Chelsea. And I think he is for me the answer to what we need. And yeah, I think it's going to be a big season for him as well.
I mean, he's a good bet. He's a good bet there at 6-1. Harry Kane at 3-1. What's interesting about what you've just said, though, KJ, when we look here at the odds with Bet Victor, 33-1. As you can see here, 33-1 Cavani is to potentially be the top goal scorer. Nobody seemingly in the market is fancying him. No fans are fancying him, but we had two on the panel here. Jess, who do you think is going to do? Who do you think is going to come up trumps and be the top goal scorer this season?
I'm going to go with Lukaku. I think Jem's right. I think he's going to be unstoppable, really. Like, I don't really see how you can get away with talking about Lukaku. I think you have like Kai Havertz, Mason Mount. You have wingbacks in Reece James and Chilwell that have good deliveries, but they don't have a focal point. And Chelsea missed a lot of chances last season. They created a lot, but they didn't make them. And I think Lukaku is quite clinical. He, again, may not pass the eye test sometimes, but he definitely has that edge to him. So for me, I think it's going to be Lukaku, and I don't think it's really going to be an issue unless Kane ends up at Man City. But I still think Lukaku and Chelsea are going to have that in the bag, to be honest.
And Neeks, what about yourself, mate? Do you disagree with anybody, or are you going with Lukaku as well?
I disagree with everyone. I mean, you always got me here defending Liverpool. How did this happen? Put some respect on Mohamed Salah. Put some respect. Like, I'm hearing, he's going to be away for African Nations Cup, blah, blah. I mean, Egypt might get knocked out early. We don't know. The man has been in like the top 2 scorers pretty much every season. He's been there. First season, 32 goals. Second season, 22 goals. Top goal scorer in both. Next season got 19. Oh, bad season that was. And the last season got 22, one behind Harry Kane. I think the only way that Salah doesn't win it is if Kane goes to City, because he's going to be eating good. I think Cavani's issue might be just about the amount of games that he plays in terms of his age and rotation, etc. But Mo Salah is as certified as it comes when it comes to goal scoring. Say what you want about his technique, say what you want to say about his greediness, that even plays into it. But I think Liverpool are going to be better this year than they were last year. And last year, he scored 22 goals, carrying their front line when Firmino and Mane decided to have a season off. So I think Liverpool's going to be better, and it's going to mean more goals for Salah. So, yeah, Salah for top goal scorer.
I mean, I think Salah's a good shout. Everyone knows what I think of Salah. I think he's one of the greatest attacking players in the history of the Premier League, especially inside forwards. I'm talking here. He's prolific. I think I respect him more than at least 20-30% of Liverpool fans that I see across social have always rated him. And barring Cristiano Ronaldo, I don't think there's been a better. I'm not talking old-fashioned wingers like Perez and Ryan Giggs. I'm talking inside modern forwards. Barring Cristiano Ronaldo, there hasn't been a better one in the Premier League, not as consistent and not who's won what he's won since being there. There just isn't one, in my opinion. I've got to go Harry Kane, though, myself. Like, for me, I know he's 3-1 at Tottenham. Last year, he was the top goal scorer at Jose Mourinho and Ryan Mason's Tottenham. Nuno's a better manager. He ain't better than Jose at peak level. He's better than Jose Mourinho now, in my opinion. And I think he's going to do very, very well indeed, regardless of what club he's at. I still think the City deal is going to go through as well. That's my gut feeling. I still think a big bid is going to come in. But I want to give this one to the viewers. In terms of me putting my bet on, super chat it away. The person who puts the most compelling argument into a super chat, that is where I'll put my money. And whatever you super chat in the value of it, that will be my bet. I will bet the value of whatever you put in. I will commit that to you right now. I will bet that value to make sure that's done. When I say bet that value, YouTube takes 40% of your super chat. So if someone puts in a madness, right, I've got to be able to get my money back. Do you know what I mean? But whatever you do, I'll put my money where my mouth is and put that forward now. If you want to super chat in, and if you want to have your say, I've seen a lot of people, by the way, with Lukaku. It's just a new thing. I haven't noticed it till today. Instead of R9, they're putting R, a little L on a 9 in, so it looks like R9. Is that normal? Is that a Chelsea thing, Jem?
It's the first I've seen R9. I've not seen RL9. So for me,
they're calling him R9, bruv, as well. I've seen RL9. I've seen R9.
Disrespect. Listen, mods, sort them out. Sort them out. That's all I can say.
I mean,
it
could be looked at as hate speech, to be honest with you. And Lukaku, by the way, is world class. But R9, it's don't do that. Do you know what I mean? It's like when you're in Neo and Usher and these guys are doing really well, and people are like, oh my god, they're like modern day Michael Jackson. Stop. Just stop. Like, you're talking seminal artist there. You're talking seminal striker. Like, don't do that to yourselves, people. What else is said? Some of these comments I can't read out. Terry, will Kane's head be into it though? I mean, that's a great question. Do any of you think if Kane stays at Tottenham, he might struggle?
I think he may have a slower start if things ain't sorted, which may then play into the final. But I think once the season starts, once the transfer window closes, wherever he is, I think he'll perform. But there's about 3, maybe 4 games before the transfer window closes, which could affect how he starts the season.
Well, remember, Harry Kane has a reputation of not scoring in August anyway, so it's not like he needs a move not to go through to Man City to be the thing. Like it's the way he is sometimes, but he'll be fine. Like Harry Kane, like as much as obviously he's done what he's done in terms of the strike and the not turning up the training, blah blah blah. He is more time a professional. You've seen him like go games and games arguing with Spurs and still yet carrying them to the line. So Harry Kane will be Harry Kane because he's Harry Kane. Like, it's all good.
There we go. This is the only super chat I've had in, and this is Aubameyang, the taxi driver, will score. So it looks like I'm being almost forced into this, but I'm going to give you 1 more minute. Otherwise, my money's going on Aubameyang. And to be fair, Aubameyang's not a bad bet. I mean, Aubameyang, from a return point of view, Aubameyang will give me
100 to 1, mate. 100 to 1.
It's legit. I know there is 25 to 1. 25 to 1. I'm going to get on that.
Yeah.
So you've got a minute to change my mind, people. A minute to change my mind on this super chat. Can you see an Arsenal player being top goal scorer, Jess?
No. Not unless a Madison or something comes in. I just feel like they're going to struggle to get the chances to score. I love Aubameyang, but I think the man fell off the cliff. I really think he's finished. Like 15 goals max this season, and I love him, but he's
all comps, right?
Yeah, all comps, whatever. No,
you mean
15 in the Premier League. He'll get 15 in the Premier League. He will.
Wow. I mean, that's. I mean, that
you're unique. Where else can you get it? Because they ain't in Europe, so you ain't getting no Champions League goals, bro.
That's true.
Yeah, there we go. He should be nice and rested, though. He should be nice and rested. So, it is. Hang on a minute. Look at this. What does this say here? Hang on. We got last second here. Kane without any service has scored what he scored last season. Can't put Lukaku ahead of Kane. Don't count out Aubameyang. Aubameyang will smash it. So there we go. It's on Aubameyang here. So I'm putting in £5. Hang on, I've had another super chat come in there. What does this say? Mane will be top goal scorer. That's $5, but there's 2 people. I think it's at $6-7 on Aubameyang. So I'm going to put that on Aubameyang to be the top goal scorer. That is what the audience have decided right here, right now on the football terrace. And that's done. If that comes in, by the way, that bet is now placed. I win a nice, tidy £130. Well, £125. I get a profit on that, which is not bad at all. Here's an interesting one before we move on to the next category, though. And by the way, I didn't say this before because I just was waiting. Do you know who's fourth favorite to be top goal scorer this season?
That guy.
Werner.
Yeah, that guy.
All right.
Werner.
Can I ask
He's
a question?
fourth favorite. Yeah, of course you can.
All right. So I wanted to say this to you, Jim. because you said Lukaku. Is there no argument to say that Lukaku plays his best football either when he has a close number 10, aka a support striker, or he has Lautaro Martinez, who actually he played in the two with? Whenever he played sort of with Manchester United, he didn't seem to be at his cutting edge best. Whereas when he's got, say, a Kevin De Bruyne or Lautaro Martinez, even when he had Ross Barkley at Everton, that's when he looked to be at his absolute best. Is there no argument to say that he could be a great foil for Timo Werner? Because we all know Timo Werner's overall play can be good, can be bad. But if there's someone else distracting defenders, it gives Timo a lot more scope and chance to do well, which is why I don't think Lukaku will actually be the top goal scorer in the league. I think he'll be your top goal scorer, but I don't think he'll be the overall top goal scorer.
I think that's a fair point. I think it's a fair point you made there, viewers. What do you think? Can Timo Werner turn it around? Next, we're moving on to player of the year, player of the season, the GOAT of the campaign. Make sure you've smashed that like button, though, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very important that you do that right about now. And let's jump straight into this next section. Player of the year is for me, it's a great debate. I love player of the year. It's more than just goals. It's more than just assists. It's who's going to stand up and perform. We've obviously got the Bet Victor odds for a number of players below us, not players that came back in your returns to me today. KDB, Jack Grealish. Kante is an interesting one out there at 33-1, and he's such a quality player indeed. Again, same rules as before, ladies and gentlemen. Whoever super chats in the most for a particular player to be player of the year, I will match that super chat in a bet with my bet and put that forward. But player of the year, Jem, who are you going with?
Well, funny enough, the Kante one wasn't me, so I went with KDB. For me, KDB, if Man City are going to win the Premier League next season, which I've said they will, then I think KDB has to be the focal point of it for me. He has to be fit, obviously. He has to be on his game. But when he's on his game, he's unplayable. Being able to create, score, free kicks. I mean, yeah, like I said, his assist levels, everything about KDB as an individual, like I just think he's a top quality player, and I think he's due to shine again. And I just think that with him, obviously Jack Grealish going into the team as well, and having a player like him around him, it's going to take a lot of pressure off someone like a KDB, because Jack Grealish would naturally attract players to him, which should hopefully, not hopefully, but should free up a KDB a lot more to be more effective in games rather than be sort of marked out of games. So I think KDB, if Man City are going to go on and win the league, has to be the focal point of it, which is why I say he would probably be the player of the year for me.
I mean, KDB is always a good shout. There's no doubt about it with how good Manchester City are. How about yourself, Cal? Who do you think? Who've got a gut feeling about going into the start of this campaign?
I'm probably going to get laughed out of the building with this one. I'm actually going to go Thiago.
Oh.
I'm dead serious. I genuinely think Thiago's gonna have a great season this season. I think he's gonna adapt to the Premier League. He's not playing with an injury now. I think the teams are a lot more settled now. I think Thiago's gonna have a great season.
So that was the excuse last year, injury. First I've heard it, by the way.
No, he played the last 2 months of the season injured.
What about the first 6?
Well, that was
the best stat he's going to have.
GBH.
The best stat he's going to have is how many claps he gets after the end of each game, bro. You know what I'm saying? How many thumbs up and that?
He got a lot of Old Trafford against you guys. So.
For me, Thiago. That's an out there shout. Thiago is an out there shout. Like there's no doubt about that. I mean, maybe Thiago Silva. Maybe. In relation to that, I mean that is a serious shout there in terms of him. How about yourself, Jess? Who's the player for you? You think he's just gonna stand out above and beyond everybody else? You know, who's it gonna be? Partey, Ben White, Lokonga, Pepe? Like, who's it gonna be?
You want me so badly to pick an Arsenal player, but I don't think we have anybody that's gonna perform to that level. You know, there's so many really good players in the Premier League. I just don't think any of our players are going to do that. But I chose KDB as well. Like, I think even though I think he's injured at the moment, I still think he's going to have a really good season. I think he has one this might be like kind of a hot take. You guys don't kill me, but I think he has one really good season in him left, and it's probably going to be this one. I see him maybe breaking the assist record, especially if he gets Harry Kane, in front of him. So I would really go for KDB. It's an obvious choice, but I don't think you can really go wrong with it. You know what I mean? Like, I have a hard time believing he's going to have a down season, because he kind of has to have a good one for them to try to, win the Premier League and the Champions League. So, yep, I go with KDB.
Okay, there's also a super chat here for you. It says, "This woman is gorgeous. I can't lie." I just thought I'd share it because it's for you, really. It's from Jay. Cheers,
you.
Jay.
Could have been talking about you.
He could have been.
2021.
And honestly, like, when people meet me and they look into these eyes, the eyes are so beautiful, they forget the fact that they could land a bus and an aeroplane together on my forehead. You know what I mean? With this, it's all good. That's me, Jay. Then thank you very much as well. Neeks, in terms of yourself, who's your player of the year prediction?
Firstly and foremost, I think I have to say last year's decision to give KDB PFA Player of the Year was terrible. He wasn't even the best player at his club, let alone in the league. So he could win it. He could win it because clearly they don't make sensible decisions when actually picking those awards. But I've gone a bit out there, and I guess it's surprising because this guy doesn't usually perform without Paul Pogba. But in the last 6 months or so, he showed that. I mean, he didn't need Pogba to hold his hand when it came to the big games and the big finals. And Kante was very, very important in Chelsea winning the Champions League, and I think he's gonna continue that form. Euros aside, continue that form into this season under a much better manager than he started last season with. The less said about that guy, the better. And I would say Kante, who probably got the award in, 2017? I think it was on a mere technicality because he had 2 great years rather than 1 great year. I think this year he will deserve it, and I think he'll go and win it.
Interesting indeed. Kante at 33-1 with Bet Victor as it stands right now. Ladies and gentlemen, if you do fancy a little bit of a responsible flutter and you're over the age of 18, you can bet £5 and get a £30 3 bet. The link to sign up to that is inside the description below. As I say, you do need to be over the age of 18 to do that. Go and give it a go. KJ, who's your prediction, bro?
So I didn't really think about this properly until like just before the show, and I knew everyone's going to go with the KDBs. Even Kante came into my head, but I have gotten completely left field, well, technically right field, and I'm just going to back my guy. Jadon Sancho is going to do it. He's going to do it. Tell me why? I just feel like he's going to have a really good impact on Manchester United. I feel like he's going to surprise a lot of people. I feel like a lot of people are not writing him off, but like are downplaying how much of an effect he could have. Maybe is that to protect him from the criticism? Is it to actually try and make him seem like he's worse than he is? I'm not too sure. But I just feel like Jadon Sancho is going to come to this Manchester United team, give us a different dimension that we have not seen on the right-hand side. And if that drives us to a second-place finish or a finish close to the title winners, you don't have to win the title to become Player of the Year. So Jadon Sancho, outside chance, man.
I mean, definitely got an outside chance, and it's not a bad shout. It's not a bad shout at all. When we look at the odds for this, as we can see, KDB leading the way there, 6-1. It's on the screens as well. Harry Kane 8-1, Jack Grealish 7-1. Mo Salah's always there or thereabouts. Bruno Fernandes, he hasn't been mentioned in any of the individual elements so far. I think he's got a great shout, if I'm being absolutely honest with you. We did have a super chat that came in here. It's one of the only ones so far that says Riyad Mahrez would be a good shout. If we go and take a look there, I mean, he's quite high up there on 20-1. So that's what the viewers so far have picked for me to place my money on. Thomas Partey can have the season of his life, providing he does stay fit for at least 30 games. Back your guys. Sancho for Player of the Year, but a surprise shout for Leon Bailey from that super chat. I mean, at the moment, I think you need to refresh and go with the super chat and put the bet on Riyad Mahrez as it stands right now. My personal thought and feeling towards it, though, is Bruno Fernandes. That is who I'd put my money on. I think he had a great season last year, but tailed off because it was too many games and not enough rotation. I think Donny van de Beek will play more this year. I think Sancho being included means there's less of the onus on the creativity coming from Bruno Fernandes. And I think he'll stay the course. I think he'll stay the course this season. He's going to score and assist over another 35 goals in all competitions. And United might actually do something pretty special this year. I've got a little outside feeling they might do it just because it would wind up Ollie out as really. You know how I said England could go quite far in the Euros because it was going to wind up people that despise Gareth Southgate? I get this sort of similar feeling with Manchester United. So my personal view is Bruno Fernandes for player of the season. But I am going to go with the super chat there from Micah, and I'm going to put a bet here on Riyad Mahrez. I'm going to put it on Riyad Mahrez here. I'm going to put 5 on him. I'm going to put 5 on Riyad Mahrez. That'll give me a return of 40 because that's what the super chatter asked me to do. Bet is placed, as you can see there. That is done. That is dusted. And it is over the line. A lot of people giving me stick in the comments. Oh, why are you picking Bruno? Why not pick Bruno? I mean, he's no worse a shout than anyone else that's been mentioned.
I think the worst shout there is the fact that Phil Foden was 16-1. 16-1, Phil Foden. No, come on, man. How is Jack Grealish 7-1? This bias.
Oh, gas.
I think there's an element of bias, but I think what it also comes down to, like on a real level, is the people are putting. That's what people like. Obviously, odds when it comes to having a bit of a flutter and playing. If lots of people start betting on it, like Jack Grealish is probably for me though. He's the most under pressure player this season.
Yes,
because of that price tag, he goes into this campaign, and everyone wants him to foul. Like outside of Man City fans, one because all of us here need City to be bad. We all need that to happen, and we're going to stick it to him if he has a bad game. I mean, how do you see him doing, Cal? Do you think he's going to have a good season, indifferent, average for £100 million? We're talking here as well.
Yeah, I think he'll have a very good season. I don't think he will play as much as he did at Villa, simply because he's not going to be the main man there. He's not going to be the only talisman. But I'm not even going to sit there and not say anything good about Grealish. He's one of my favourite players in the league. I wish we could have got him. I think he's going to do very, very well at Man City, and I think he'll go on to have a great career for the rest of his career. Top quality footballer.
There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, hit that like and that share button. We're talking about relegation. Who's going out? Who's dropping out of the Premier League next year? Let's get this stream past 500 to 600 likes. Let's do that right now. Let's go, people. Let's go. So the relegation battles are always enthralling, and we've included some odds at the bottom for Norwich, who are the favourites to go down. Them odds have actually gone out since then. They're now at 10-3 on to go down. Watford are one of the high favourites. Brentford are there as well. I've included Newcastle for our very own Kendall, just so you can see, what odds on our own team going down, struggling to get Joe Willock across the line right now as well. I've stuck Burnley in there, and we are going to start off with this. I put Burnley in there. That's like a bucket list for UKJ, isn't it? Listen, how desperate are you to see Burnley go down?
I will not stop. Until these men are out of the Premier League. I am sick of them. I am sick of their badge. I'm sick of their kit. I'm sick of their stadium. I am sick of their players that are just bland, boring. No sauce, no flavor, nothing. The only thing I like about Burnley is Sean Dyche because he's flipping hilarious and his voice sounds like a 50-year-old smoker, fam. You know what I mean? Like, that's the only reason why I can stand them just a little bit. I cannot stand these, man. Get them out of the flipping Premier League. They don't deserve to be here. Well, they do, but they don't deserve to be here. I'm tired of seeing them in the Prem. Get them gone. I'm sick of it.
KJ, mate. KJ, you are crazy. We ain't going anywhere. Yeah? We ain't going anywhere. Yeah? Burnley, we're here to stay, brother. Man. We're here to stay, KJ. You ain't going nowhere.
Listen, and I get why. I know you've got that issue with him and you want him to go down. I get that. Jess, who's your top relegation candidate? Who do you think is an absolute dead cert to go down?
You don't have to look that far from Norwich. Or I know I say it wrong. Norwich. It's Norwich. I can't say it. You know who I'm talking about. So definitely them. But can I just throw like a random one out there that I just kind of feel like they're moving in a way where Southampton. I think the way that they're moving now, it's just like do you want to go down? You know, and I think that they were kind of lucky to be in the position that they were last season. I think there's a false narrative around Hasenhüttl. I don't think he's as good as people make him out to seem. You don't have Ings anymore. You're losing Vestergaard. Like, I'm looking at that team like, yeah, you guys could probably go down, you know. So I would put Southampton in there as well, you know.
I mean, that's an interesting shout. And I know that Kendall would not want to include them. I think Newcastle were a team. I mean, they've done little to no business, that they may or may not get Willock over the line. I don't actually even think he's going to be that good of a signing. I believe he had a bit of a Jesse Lingard like resurgence, and I know he broke the record. I don't think any midfielder's ever scored in that many games on the bounce. I cannot. If he has got the ability to keep doing that, why are Arsenal letting him go? Like, for me, he's just going to go there, and I reckon if he scores, if Joe Willock scores more than 7 goals in the Prem this whole season, I would be shocked. I would be legitimately shocked. So I think Newcastle are a great shout to go down. How about yourself, Jem? Who's your main, either your main pick or your outsider to go down?
Well, my main pick's Watford. I just think they're bun, to be honest. Like when it comes to the 3 that have come up, right? You've got Watford, you've got Brentford and Norwich. Usually 2 of them go, and then one of them just does a madness and then ends up finishing like 8th or 9th. And I've just got a feeling that might be Brentford that's going to do that. I don't know why. Don't ask me. Don't have an explanation to it. It's just I've just got that feeling it's them. But in terms of someone else other than Watford, it would probably be Brighton. You guys ain't going to agree with me, but I don't get the hype.
I'm with you.
I just don't get the hype over Brighton. Everyone last year was banging on about how great Brighton play football. They do this, they do that, and I watch them, and I'm just like, they're bang average. I just have this feeling that going into this season, the levels that they put forward last year are just not going to be the same this year. And I actually think last year they rode their luck quite a bit as well. If you look at the players that they've got, they're bar average, man. I know KJ don't like Burnley, but for me, I have a thing with Brighton, and Brighton need to go as well.
At least Brighton got some sauce about them. You prefer Burnley, bro.
Burnley remind me of a 90s Alan Shearer Newcastle team, so I don't mind them. You know?
Yeah, but it's 2021, mate.
But I'm not about the 2021. Do you know what? I agree with Jem on this. Do you know what? Burnley don't pretend to be anything other than they are. They know that they are plain chicken. They know.
Damn right.
Damn right, Terry. Tell them. They are what they are, right? They're bland, but that's what they try to be. I do get frustrated with teams that play kind of attractive football, but people rave about them like they're better than they really are. That, oh my God, this manager, if you gave him a top world-class team, he'd have him playing like Pete Barcelona. Would he? Then why is no one giving him that chance? Like, why is no one in the game giving him that chance and that opportunity? You know, not even Tottenham. Tottenham went after 30 managers in the summer. I didn't go after him. Do you know what I mean?
He did. You just rejected them and that. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. If Brighton don't get a striker, they'll be fighting relegation for sure. Definitely. They need one.
They're XGFC, brother. XG. Neeks, you said you've gone with Watford.
Oh, well, Watford, I agree, Jem. Watford are down. They don't score enough goals. I think they scored like 60 odd goals in the Championship last year. So I think they're gone. Deeney is still one of their main guys, and that says it all. I agree, Brighton, I think they're going down as well. They haven't bought a striker so far, and that's their biggest problem. Welbeck and Maupay, good luck. But for me, the outside shout, and it's an outside shout because they've been in the Premier League for a while, is Crystal Palace. I think Roy Hodgson's job that he's done there has been underrated. I think people want Crystal Palace to play in a certain way because maybe some of their players have got a bit of a skill. They like a bit of a step over or a body feint. But Roy Hodgson knew what the job was, and the job was to stay in the Premier League. They're going to try, I believe, under Vieira to move away from what's kept them in the Premier League for so long. And I'm not saying Frank de Boer, but it could be bad. It could be bad. And I think this might be the one where it's like, yeah, we've survived long enough. We're going back down. I actually think Norwich, came up, gone down, and come back up, I think they're going to be better suited to actually stay up.
Yeah, interesting there. I mean, again, some of these shouts, Palace are 4 favourites to go down at 6-1. And I do think that's, as you say, because Hodgson knew what he was doing. And listen, I really hope Patrick Vieira does a brilliant job for so many reasons. but you can't help but look at the managing in the Premier League is a very hard job, irrespective of your experience. So it's going to be a difficult one. Burnley are fifth favourites to go down, followed by Newcastle. The odds have actually gone out since we put these out earlier. Newcastle have now actually, maybe it's because they feel like the Willock deal is going to happen. They've now actually moved to 9-1 to go down rather than 6-1, which is there we go. Actually, no, that's to finish bottom as opposed to getting outright bottom rather than getting relegated. So the ones down below are still true. We have some super chats here. Norwich getting too much disrespect. They are staying up, is what Grey Wolf Dinner thinks. Maria Williams here. Maybe this is going to have to be where my bet goes. They said Arsenal to get relegated. Now, I have to say, what would be more eventful? Like Man United winning their first Premier League title in nearly a decade, or Arsenal being relegated? Like what's
being relegated?
Arsenal getting relegated.
AFTV, we got 2 million subscribers like that overnight.
They'll have to fly troops back over, bro. You know what I'm saying? For one relegation special.
You're in an art.
I can't imagine them going down though. Like I can't. No one can imagine them going down.
Nah.
Last year was the year for it, and somehow
you have more chance of Spurs going down if they lose Harry Kane, I reckon, than Arsenal going down. That's what I think.
It's an interesting one there. So in terms of this here, I'm just trying to pick the right one here. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to put these up. Who's finishing bottom? So I'm going to go with picking who's going to be bottom. You guys have convinced me in your comments about Watford, about the goals. So I'm going to go with Watford to finish bottom. I'm going to stick 5 on them to finish bottom of the league this year, Watford. That is done. I'm not putting it on Arsenal. It's an absolute waste of money. It's a waste of money. But thank you. I'm just not doing it. But thank you for that super chat. We'll do it that way around. So we're going to bet on them. And next, ladies and gentlemen, and make sure you stay with us. And if you've just tuned in, you might be thinking what's going on because of the main title. We spoke about that at the beginning of the video. Arsenal Football Club are putting together a massive, gargantuan, in fact, contract offer for Lautaro Martinez to try and convince him to not go to Tottenham and to join them in North London instead. They've also submitted a £25 million plus bonus bid for Aaron Ramsdale to take him from the relegated Sheffield United to the Emirates Stadium as their number 1 goalkeeper over Bernd Leno. We want your thoughts. We want your feelings. Smash that like and that share button. Next, we are predicting who are going to be or who will be the Premier League champions this season. Who's winning the league, Jess? I'm just going to come to you straight out. Who's winning the league, Jess?
I think Chelsea wins it. I know it's probably a lot of people will say Man City, which makes a lot of sense because they just won the Premier League. And I know that they've won back-to-back before, but I do think it's still quite hard. And I think one of their main objectives, and it should be, is winning the Champions League. And they have a lot of work to do. So for me, it's not even just about how strong the team is. I think Chelsea and Man City are quite comparable, especially if you add Romelu Lukaku and Kounde to Chelsea's team in terms of depth and quality. But I think the wind is blowing in Chelsea's direction. I don't think there's as much pressure on Chelsea to defend the Champions League as it is for Man City to win it. And I think with that type of pressure, they may just fall short in the Premier League, which gives Chelsea a good chance of winning it. Sometimes it's just about the direction that the wind is going. They have a young, exciting team with an exciting manager. And I don't think City has done enough. And I think some of the teams, like even Manchester United, have done enough to make that title race a lot tighter. Last season, it was a weird season, no fans in the stands. And I don't think City got lucky, but I think it'll be different this time around. So for me, I have to go with Chelsea, as much as it hurts me to say it. I think they have a really good chance of doing it. I wouldn't be shocked if they won it, to be honest.
Anybody got a thought outside? Anyone got a thought outside of Chelsea? Before I do that, though, I don't want to miss this because it's a massive donation to the terrace. Tonks Cole here says top goal scorer can't be Cavani as injuries will restrict that. I think Lukaku, to be frank. Liverpool to finish third ahead of us. Great panel. Even the Liverpool guy, man like Callum, smart and unbiased. Chelsea for the title is what Tonks is saying. I mean, Tonks put a big donation in there for Chelsea. So if anyone, when it comes to my bet, someone's got to outdo Tonks with that one. They've got to outdo it. There we go. But is anyone thinking? Thank you very much, Tonks, for that. It really means a lot to us. Does anybody think it could be anyone other than Chelsea? Who's betting for someone outside of Chelsea?
Yeah, I'm going City. I do think they'll get Kane over the line. Obviously, adding Grealish as well. The fact that they know how to win the league. Pep Guardiola, for all the crying about Sergio Aguero and all that nonsense, he knows what he's doing in the Premier League. He's got a squad to do it. He's got a squad to sort of juggle competitions. We all know he's going to get a fantastic draw in the FA Cup and the League Cup with Peterborough and Burton Albion, all these teams. I think City are going to do it. Their depth, their quality, I think it will get them over the line. I think Chelsea this time next season we'll be speaking about as the genuine title contenders, but I think it's the season too early for them.
What about Liverpool, though? What about your club, Liverpool? Greatest Premier League team of all time. And the only reason you didn't win it last year was because of injuries. Your players are all fit this year. Why are you not putting yourselves as favourites? What's the rationale?
I knew this would happen. I knew it's too good for Terry to be nice to me for over an hour. I knew this was coming. Look, I'm just going to be honest. I think we need to add 2 players to our squad, whether it be a centre midfielder and a wide forward or a wide forward and a striker. Everyone knows my guy, but we can't rely on him to be the goal getter. Salah, for him to be the main goal getter, again, you're asking a lot of him. Defensively, I think we're going to take a bit of time to adapt. Gomez, Matip and Virgil come back from long-term injuries. Konate's new. Obviously, we've just lost Robbo for a few weeks as well, so it's going to be interesting to see how Tsimikas adapts to left-back position. I don't think we're going to win it this season, but I don't think we'll be far off. I think people have kind of written us off and think that we're going to be rubbish this season. I don't think that will happen. I just don't think we'll have the quality that City have this season.
AJ, how about yourself, mate? Who are you picking to win this title?
I'm picking. I would personally pick Chelsea. I think Chelsea, off the momentum of winning the Champions League, will galvanise them. Full preseason under Tuchel. They've got the squad. They've now got Lukaku coming in. They look like they're going to get Kounde. It's going to be a good season for Chelsea, I believe. But if, as much as I love him and I want him to do it, I would love for this guy to do it. But I just know deep down I don't think he's at the level to do so. But if Manchester United, for some reason or another, end up ending it with Oli, letting him go, and bringing in a Zidane or a Conte or a manager of that level, I would not be surprised if Man United go on a new manager bounce and win the Premier League. That is the only condition, though. The only condition is that Oli would have to leave at some point, and he has to leave early enough for that manager to come in and take us forward. But yeah, if Man United end up replacing Oli with a Zidane, I could see us winning the Premier League. Even though I would love Oli to do it, I just don't think he's at the level to do that right now.
Haven't they changed the rules though, so you don't get penalties so easily anymore? So
keep penalties when you're actually having an attack. You know what I'm saying? Not just 3 man. We have like 6, 7 man. They actually go forward, bro.
I mean, look, with Oli winning it, like Neeks, what's your take on that? Oli winning it or Man United winning it in any way, shape, or form? Do you see Man United with a chance this season?
If Oli wins it, give him a statue. Give him a statue. 99, 2022. That'll be great on his CV as Man United career. No, I don't see us winning it, and it's unfortunate because I think we've clearly progressed in the last 2 years, finishing third, finishing second, 66 points, 74 points. For me, when I'm judging Oli this season, it's going to be obviously on winning, hopefully winning a trophy, whatever trophy that is, and what we do in terms of consistency, how we play and how many points we get. I'm looking for maybe another 10-point increase from this season, so mid-80s. But mid-80s might not be enough to win it. Man City won it with 90, 90, so 90 was 100, 98. Liverpool won it with 99. So that's a mad consistency, and I think champions of England, champions of Europe. Those two will be, I think, the leading teams at the end of the season, 1 and 2. And I'm going to have Chelsea as number 1, despite them only having one world-class player in N'Golo Kante, and a striker who doesn't really score in the big games, but it's the little games that have troubled Chelsea. And I think small game Romelu will come up trumps in those games and get them over the line in a way that Timo Werner didn't.
Look, yeah, Chelsea are my favourites. Tonks has put the super chat in, so that's where my bet as of right now is going, unless somebody outdoes Tonks' $100 bet on Chelsea. The interesting thing about KJ's point with Man United is for Ollie to get sacked, he'd have to do so bad that I think we'd be too far away from winning the league title anyway, if that makes sense. That's my the only way. Maybe if we were terrible and lost all 6 Champions League games, but even then, if we were doing well in the league and we went out the Champions League like that,
we know what they're like.
We know what the Glazers would do.
Yeah, you have to be in the same position as Chelsea was with Lampard last year, where we was fumbling down the table. I think we got to about 8th, 9th, and we were struggling. We were losing games back to back to back. You know, we were going to Wolves and getting beaten 2-1, stuff like. You could just tell that he was going to go. That's the only time I think you'll see an Ollie go. I think that's the only time. Yeah,
but my point is, though, I just don't think. I think we'd be too far. Exactly, we'd be too far away from winning the league. But I think Man United have got a better chance of winning it than people are giving us credit for. That just sort of the Ollie tax thing, just completely writing us off. We shouldn't be considered first, second, or third. We should be considered 4 favourites. Is where the bookies have us.
I don't agree with that, Terry. We should be top 3. We should be top 3.
Just about to say that.
3.
I don't understand why Man United should be seen as outsiders with the money they spent. The fact that Ollie's been there pretty long as well. You've got top quality players. I mean, are you kind of being? I'm not saying this directly to you 3, but is Man United's sort of title aspirations being downplayed for a reason? Like with anyone else spending that sort of money, they'd be considered favourites.
I'll answer that. So for me, I think our squad is good enough to win the league. But at the same time, when it comes to our manager, all I keep getting told is top quality managers are responsible for winning you an extra 10 to 15 points a season. Are any of you on here willing to admit, non-Man United fans, that Ollie's at the same level as Tuchel, Klopp's and Pep's?
No. But
our squad is good enough to win the league. Our squads are on par with City and Chelsea's and Liverpool. Liverpool fans will never admit that our squad is better than theirs.
No, I will. No, I won't say it's better. I won't say it's a better squad.
Okay. So if it's the same, so if Chelsea,
it's on par.
Let's get to this. So if Chelsea's squad's as good as Man United's or better, if City's is as good or better, and if Liverpool's is as good or better, and you've all got better managers, we can't be anything other than 4 favourites.
No, but my argument, can I just say something? My argument to that, Terry, is that last year you guys got second and you didn't have the players that you've got this year. We don't know how well Ollie's going to do with the new players that he's got coming in. A Varane is a massive improvement to Lindelof. A Jadon Sancho is something I know KJ and Neeks and yourself have been crying out that you need to fill that area. The creativity will be there. You've kept Pogba and you've got Bruno, and you can get away with one more season with a Cavani, providing that you create for him, because I still think he's a world-class striker in the box. I just think it depends on how Ollie uses the squad. But
Jem, that's the thing though. How many of us here can sit on this panel and confidently say, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will 100% use this squad to its maximum potential to compete with Tuchel, Klopp, and this is me saying it, wanting him to do that.
But KJ, what I would say is that we can't say 100% for anyone, because I think a lot of Klopp's management is the reason why Liverpool struggled to get top 4 last season. I know he had the injuries, but Callum, he had the injuries, but he was too stubborn to change the way he played, despite not having the players that you needed to play in the way that he wanted to play. Let me finish.
That's true. I stand corrected. That's true.
In 2 years, finished above Chelsea. In 2 years, finished top 3 2 years in a row. Now, I agree with Terry that you can't say Ollie's, and I'm not saying anyone on the panel said this, you can't say Ollie's a PE teacher in one breath and then say we're top favourites or to challenge for the league or whatever. But I don't believe he's a PE teacher, and therefore I think that we should be getting 85 points. And 85 points challenge for the league. It might not win it probably won't, but it challenges for the league.
So just on those points, there's nothing anybody said that I disagree with. My point is, when you're talking about predictions and who the favourite should be, we're talking about everybody playing to the best of their ability. So if Liverpool have a bad season and Chelsea have a bad season, we can finish in front of them. But that has to then be your prediction that they're not going to do as well. If Chelsea, City, Liverpool, Man United all play to the best of their abilities, squad and manager-wise, we come fourth because those other squads and managers are better than us. So I can't look at us. However, I don't think it's going to actually work like that. I think we're going to finish in front of Liverpool this season. And I think we'll be really close to the top. I don't think we'll be off the top by any more than by the end of the season, any more than 5 to 8 points. I think we're going to have a pretty good season. But favourites to win it, I just don't quite know if we're there. We haven't won a trophy under him yet. But Chelsea are my prediction to go on and get it done. And it's going to be.
Really quickly, why is Chelsea? And again, I'm not even trying to say this just to start trouble. Why is everyone going so crazy for Chelsea? Is it literally Lukaku?
No. I wouldn't even say Chelsea.
I believe it's the improvement you have seen with Chelsea over the course of one season, and again, the momentum of winning a Champions League. Yo, Cal, you should know. You know what I mean? You guys won a Champions League. That moment, yes, you had a good season that season as well, but you use that momentum to keep you guys going. Won the Premier League. I feel like a whole season under Tuchel, a proper preseason because he came in mid-season, will gear them up to end up winning.
Do you know what it is?
Winning the Premier League with the Lukaku edition as well. And Kounde.
My question mark with Chelsea, because obviously being a Chelsea fan, is that when you look at, we brought in a striker that will score goals, and there's no issues with that. My issue is whether or not we can get other people to score double-digit goals. We struggled to do that last season. And when you look at Man City, they have players across the pitch that contribute to goals. Yeah. So for me, even though we've got Romelu Lukaku there, I don't know how many goals we're going to score from other areas, which is not to say we're not going to do it.
Yeah, I get that, but you would have done it if Tuchel was there all season. If you look at the way you played, basically what you've got to do is what Tuchel did in the second half, like double it. Forget what came before it, because that wasn't Thomas Tuchel. I think you'll have. We alluded to it earlier. I think Timo Werner is going to have a much better season than people expect. There's going to be less pressure on him. There isn't going to be the focus. And my reason for putting Chelsea above City, I think City are going to pull off Kane and Grealish. And everyone knows one of my bugbears when it comes to predictions. I hate when everyone just goes with the obvious, standard, easy. France winning the Euros because they're the best team. It's embarrassing because football doesn't work like that. And for everyone to writing Chelsea off is very dangerous. And I think it will weaponize them as a football club, and they will come out and be all gun blazing. A few people in the comments are asking why we're not talking about Arsenal. Well, the show started all about Arsenal, so you can go back to the beginning later and watch it. We did mention them in the top 4 race. But we will bring them up because they're a big part of the football terrace, Arsenal. And I need to throw this out there. What kind of season, Neeks, do you see Arsenal Football Club having?
This is actually a tough one. I think Mikel Arteta is overrated. I really do. I think a lot of their players are past their best, and I don't know how good their best was. Like the likes of Lacazette, like he's past his best, but it wasn't great at any point for Arsenal. Aubameyang, he just said 15 goals. I mean, that's why I said all competitions, because he needs to bag a hat-trick against the likes of Burton and Peterborough in the cups if he's going to get 15 goals. I'm being very, very serious right here. It's not banner. He doesn't look like half the player he was when he joined Arsenal. I do think they can get European places. We're talking top 8? 8th gets Conference League. I think they can get 7th. It depends on Kane leaving Spurs. If Kane stays at Spurs, I think they'll finish behind Spurs again. No St. Tottenham's there. But I think they're going to struggle. I think they're going to struggle to score goals again, which is going to be the big issue. But of course, they are going to win the third best, the third kit trophy. They've got the best third kit. They're going to win that trophy. And that's all that matters.
The drip league.
I hear you on that. Jess, from your point of view, just quickly before we round up and I put my bet on who I think is going to win the Premier League. What are your honest, as it stands right now? By the way, all these predictions for winning leagues could change by next week's show because we're signing, or with these shows are going to run for at least the next 4 weeks. We could change some of these predictions because of what happened in the market. But what's your expectation right now, Jess, for Arsenal's campaign?
Based on the team that we have literally right now, I would say that pretty much our fight is for top 6, top 7. Like, I don't see us going any higher than that. I just don't think we've improved the squad enough to try to fight for top 4. If we get an attacking midfielder like a Madison, then I think, okay, yeah, maybe we can try to get in there, but still I think we need a striker. But with what we have right now, I think top 6, top 7 is about where we'll be trying to fight. I know people don't want to hear this, but once we got a 10 in our side and Odegaard, we were one of the best teams in the league. And you guys use those stats for other teams all the time, like Tuchel, when he came in halfway through the season, Chelsea became a much better team. Well, so did we once we had Odegaard in the team. So I think we do good defensively. We don't get a lot of goals scored on us. I do think we struggle to create chances, but all in all, I think 6th, 7th place is probably where we'll end up with the squad that we have right now. And that's just not good enough. So when people are like, well, why aren't we talking about Arsenal? It's because we just haven't improved the positions that are really going to move the needle, and that's striker and attacking mid. I do think we'll bring in an attacking mid, and if that happens, then my prediction will be closer to 5th. But still, no, we're not in the top 4 race. Like, somebody would really have to slip up, and we would have to overperform. That's, yeah.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to put my bet on now. Again, via our partners and our title sponsors today, Bet Victor. Here it is, Chelsea to win the league. Just under £50 going on this here to match what Tonks' super chat came in as. That bet is now on. That'll give me a return. I mean, look, that's how close. That's not that great odds. 5-1. The return's going to come in now. The bet is, that's not the right button. That's the right button. Hang on a second. I've got to go back and do it the other way around. Excuse me. I've got to top the account up.
Man ain't got the keys for this. You don't have the facilities.
Yeah, I just topped it up and I didn't. I'll get that done. I'll get that done right about now and get that over the line.
5-1 is decent odds. 5-1, I think.
5-1 is pretty good indeed. Absolutely. Comment here says, "Come on, Neeks, nothing tough. You got it. 7. You got 7. Liverpool Premier League champions, Chelsea, City, Man United. Oh, someone there back in his football club. I like that. I kind of get what he was saying. I put 2 sentences into one there, but there we go.
I think it was talking about Arsenal, but he's saying 7. Yeah.
Wherever Aston Villa finish, Arsenal will be 1 place below them. That's all I know. That's all I know. So if we go. If they get 5th, they get 6th.
Massively overrating Aston Villa right now. But
all right, listen, I back Man United and where I'm from. So
yeah. There we go. That bet has now been placed on Arsenal. Really good return for me. Return of over £250 if that comes off. So Tonks, thank you very, very much indeed for putting that forward. There we go. Super chat here says Lukaku, Havertz, Mount, best front 3 in the EPL. That's why.
Come on.
Guys, we can start chatting more about that on next week's show. We are back same time next week at 6:30 for the brand new show on the Terrace, powered by Bet Victor. If you want to sign up to one of their accounts now, you can do that. As soon as you bet £5, you get a £30 free bet put into your account there. So go and get that done right about now, please. Go and get that sorted out and get that on. We'd love to see it there. For all the super chatters today, thank you very, very much indeed. To sign up to Bet Victor, by the way, the link is in the description below. To all of the people that came on today and put their bets on, signed up, gave us their views, gave us their comments, tuned in, smashed the like button, voted. So much respect to each and every single one of you. We're back tonight live again after Chelsea complete their game, whether they win, lose, or draw against Villarreal in the Super Cup. Make sure you subscribe. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again